Welcome back if you've been here before. Listen, I want to talk to you today about healthcare staffing, two things you must know, especially in this climate. And so a lot of times people ask me a lot of questions. They ask me, Nicole, how did you make your first 7 figures? How did you do this? How did you start your staffing firm? When really they should be more concerned about sustainability. Because again, statistically, most businesses fail within the first year. 90% fail within the first 3 years. And so to be here for 15 years, that is, there is a lot more strategy in that than most people realize. And so there's a duality to being successful in your industry and also being successful in business. So today I want to talk to you about business, kind of your development, okay? And I think this will help you to gain the leverage that you need to have a longer stay. And it's about healthcare staffing, but really it's applicable to any industry, okay? I just talk about healthcare staffing because that's where my heart is. You guys know that we launched, mentor, and have operated in the healthcare staffing industry for about 15 years. But what I found is that this information crosses over to some of the other industries that we serve as well, okay? Listen, there are 4 stages to business development. So what you need to know about your business is not just your skill set. I see people with a phenomenal skill set, but they have no business dexterity, okay? So they don't understand the concepts of business. They don't understand the development of business. And so you could have the best skill set in the world, but if you don't understand the strategy that precedes the skill set, or you don't understand how to balance them together, your business will not sustain. So let's talk today about 4 things you need to know about business. First of all, you need to have your skill set in your industry. So when it comes to the industry that I serve, I really work with nurse entrepreneurs, emerging and established, and primarily in the healthcare staffing arena, okay? My development in healthcare staffing was understanding the industry, understanding how that industry works, moves, the culture, the climate, and everything that goes along with specifically being in that industry. That is not what has made me successful. Most people think that is what made me successful, and that is not true, okay? What has made me successful, and if we've worked together before, you've heard me talk a lot about the development of business. And so you need to develop your business arm. So listen, I'm gonna give you 4 quick things, right, to help you kind of navigate and see where you are. So you have to know your industry, whether that's home health, whether that's a beauty shop, whatever it is. You have to know your industry. You have to know your craft. You have to know your trade. But you also have to know business, and you have to understand the seasons of business. I heard someone say this one time about business, and I didn't understand it back then. They said, winter's always gonna come. And I didn't know what that meant. But now I know what that means, right? Being a seasoned entrepreneur, you're always gonna have a winter. Your business is gonna go through the 4 stages of life, the 4 seasons, right? Just like anything else, summer, winter, fall, and spring, okay? And so to translate that to business, here is what happens. Most entrepreneurs go through the first stage successfully. That is launching. That is when you have the ideal, you get the concept together, you create the cadence, you get the cadence together, the steps that you follow, and you actually launch. The second aspect is development, okay? This is the cycle of business. Your business is first launched, and then you develop your business. So this is where you're getting proof of concept. You know that your business works. You can evolve and grow your business a little bit more. You're proving yourself on a different level, okay? You're proving that you understand business, that you understand your model. When you get to maturation, this is what is really important, okay? So first you launch, then you develop, then you get to maturation. Maturation or maturation or maturity, right? However you say it, is when your business is really scalable, it's growing, you have standard processes, you have things that you could duplicate, and you really understand your business, okay? Maturity does not happen overnight. I've been in business for 15 years. I stayed in the launch and development stage for a number of years because I didn't understand that there was something beyond that. Where most people get lost is either in launching, meaning they've met the legal requirements for whatever business they have. They know what to do. They aren't necessarily doing it. Something's not working. They're not seeing results, okay? People take a segue there and quit because they think their business is not working. They don't give it the time to develop. Development is when you're proving your concept further. Your business should be profitable in the development stage, but now you're testing, you're seeing what works, what doesn't work, you're tweaking, and you're taking your business to the next level. Maturation means I should be able to come into your business and I should be able to duplicate whatever processes you have. Meaning there should be some cadence for what you're doing, a workflow, some understanding of what you're doing, and now you have scaled that and your business has results. This is when you hit 6 figures, 7 figures, okay? Maturation. Let me explain to you how important maturity is, the stage of maturity. When you get to maturity, 2 things are gonna happen after this: regression or progression. And I'm gonna tell you why they happen, but I'm gonna share it through my own journey. So when I first started my business, you guys, if you've heard me say this before, this will be familiar. So 2005, started the business. I launched. 2006, 2007, developed the business. I was at 6 figures. I thought that I had arrived. I thought I knew everything I needed to know, right? I don't know what made me think that, right? Straight off the nursing floor into business, had been doing it for 2 years, thought I knew everything because I was making money, right? And then I connected with my now husband, who's like, okay, like this is not, like you need new information, right? And I didn't understand it back then. I thought this is working, not understanding that it was working, but I was going to go through a different cycle of business, the next cycle. So I was at the place where I was in development, but it was ready for maturity. But in order to go to maturity, I had to get new information. Now, everything around me was saying get new information, right? But I was not receiving that because I'm like, I'm doing good. I've probably made $500,000. I think that's really good, right? Here's what happened. I regressed. Because I did not get the information that I needed, my company was placed in, we went backwards. We went into regression. And so for 9 months, I lost business, lost clients, and basically started over. I thought I was starting over. Okay, please listen to this. So I went through this 9-month period, and during this period, I began educating myself and actually sourcing other individuals that I could connect with that could help me, right, on my journey. And so I did not understand that that was a necessary process. But that was the saying, right? Winners will come. And so there were moments when I thought about, okay, am I doing the right thing? Like nothing is going on. What am I supposed to be doing right now, right? This is crazy. But because I stayed in, I was able to see the results. Here is where people get confused. When your business gets to a place of maturity, you hit a level that is going to require you to have new information, new processes, new systems, exposure to new things in proximity. Okay, any one of those things. I don't know which one specifically, right? And so when you get there, whatever the catalyst for the next phase is going to be shows up, what happens with most people is they say crazy stuff like, oh my God, it's a sign. Oh my God, it doesn't feel good anymore. Oh my God, I'm so busy. Oh my God, they say whatever. They just don't get the information. So they go into regression. Okay, and that means it starts looking like or feeling like you're going backwards. But here's what happens, or you're at a standstill. When you get to this place, it is so important to pay attention because I don't believe you have to get there. I think you go through launch, development, maturity, and then it's supposed to be progression. But for most of us, we don't feel the pebble that hits us. We wait for the big stone, right? So the pebble usually comes first, then we get hit in the head with a stone like, oh shoot, everything's like crazy, right? I need help. And so I'm saying that most people exit at the stage of maturity, not waiting for the next phase and not understanding that this is an opportunity for you to educate yourself and get to the next level. So let me tell you what happened. I did all of those things, okay? Now, I didn't understand the seasons of business. I understood staffing back then, and I only understood it at that level and degree. I'd only been doing it for 2 years. And so I started developing my understanding business and the cycles of business and how business worked, and I decided to stay in the game. Okay, people are not being informed about the stages of business. And so when we see these things show up, we want to quit, we want to run away, we want to say it's a sign from God, I knew I shouldn't have ever done that. We want to say all of these things when really it's like, no, pause, take a break, and get new information. You're not the first person this has happened to. And so the fact that I got new information, again, is the catalyst to us becoming national. I will share with you how this happened again in my business, okay? So 2010, I don't know what the date was, but I got a knock on the door, okay? And it was like a government agency that wanted to audit everything. They didn't just want to audit from that year. They wanted to audit from year one. Now, this is after we had went national. We were operating. Our revenue was substantial. We were doing really, really well. We went through all the stages again, right? So when we launched again, we launched nationally. We developed on a national territory. We got new processes, new procedures, new information. The company matured, brought it to the highest peak. I had someone come to me and say, Nicole, you really need to rethink the way that you're implementing in terms of, it was for classification of employees. And I didn't heed the warning. I continued in the same familiar process. That was the pebble, right? That was the opportunity for Nicole to get new insight, new wisdom, and do something different. Nicole didn't do it. So then comes the stone. A few months later, I'm being audited. I've shared this story. If you've worked with me behind the scenes, I've told you a lot about this. I'm being audited, and then I was audited for every preceding year, which our audit, we were found victorious. However, it was the catalyst to maturation, right? So we got to the maturity, and then we can regress or we can progress. Okay, we can make progress or we can regress. And so we went through that process. And again, once we finished that process, I think our business increased like 4 times. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is the reason that I don't think we see the sustainability is that no one is clearly saying, it's not being effectively communicated that winter will come. And I don't always think winter has to come. At this place, at this stage in business, right? I've been doing business for 15 years successfully, and 20 if you count the time that I was selling cell phones out the trunk of my car. But I say that because I think that more women, particularly in entrepreneurs, if we had the understanding, not just of our skill set in our lane, but really had the duality of understanding business and that winter's gonna come, we plan for it. So now 15 years in, I don't need the pebble in the stone. I look at the pebble, right? I hire mentors. I get people around me who are further in the game than me, not just as it relates to staffing. A lot of times it's basically about business and the evolution of businesses and different things like that, so that I can be proactive and I don't have to worry about what's going to happen during the winter or at the stage of maturity. You're going to bring your business to a height that you're going to need new information. And that is all however it shows up, right? It might show up as stagnation. It might show up as losing clients. However it shows up. And COVID, for me, I think for a lot of people, COVID was that thing. It was that maturity, that place of maturity, to regress or create progress. It showed up to indicate something in your business, not to stop you. But so many people taken out there, right, and get off and say, oh, I can't do it, that I really feel like that's where the sustainability comes in, right? Those statistics. So when I was teaching today, we were talking about this, and I was like, oh gosh, I want to share this because I think for someone, it'll make all the difference. Sometimes people ask me, and I jokingly say, like, Nicole, how have you done so well? And I'm just like, I outlasted other people, right? But the truth is, I knew that winter was going to come. Even at the level and degree that we are now, I expect winter to come. The only difference is now that we know winters come, we plan for the winter. That is why when COVID showed up, there were certain things that were in place that afforded us an opportunity that many people unfortunately didn't have. And I've seen other businesses who were not able to weather the storm or were not able to go through successfully and maybe not able to grow. right? So I want you to think about that, where you are. And if you know where you are, you know what to expect. And not from a fearful place, but from a place that you can be empowered and informed and be able to take the necessary steps to make sure that you're ready for that next step, right? So if I told you, well, this is maturity, like you're right at the place you need to be at, and perhaps you should make this adjustment, or perhaps you need to modify right now because you're at this level, right? You're at the $1 million, you're at the 500,000, you're at whatever, you know? So what I'm saying to you is it's important to understand where you are. What do we do when we know winter is going to come? We prepare. We get things. We're not going out to the stores as much. We're maybe, changing things in our house. We're getting winter clothes. We are not operating with spring stuff we're preparing. And you have to do that with your business as well. After losing everything and having to lay off staff, I promised that I would never do that again. That was in 2007. So even though we've had different things that we faced and obstacles that we overcame, at that point, we prepared every year. So the next time we went through something, guess what? We didn't have to lay anyone off. We had enough reserve and revenue that we could keep individuals working for years if one client didn't pay us, right? And so you have to just be prepared for it, but it doesn't mean that's your exit. And I think some individuals are sitting on gold mines, but simply because you don't have the understanding or you don't have the awareness about how business operates, the cycles of business, the economy follows a cycle. That is why I know on the back of this, when this COVID passes, I've went through 3 or 4 different cycles, 3 of them being crisis, and just probably 4 total in healthcare staffing. On the back of this COVID, healthcare staffing is going to propel from now to 2027. I compare what I say, which are Nicole's predictions, with what economists say, right? And pay for all of this empirical data to support my hypothesis. But it's true, but it's a cycle. Okay, so you have to understand that. Launch. If you're in the beginning with your business, you're just getting it together. You're just legal. That's all you are. Development is the process, and maybe you've generated a little bit of revenue. Development is the process of proving your concept. Whatever your operations are, you executing on that and generating revenue. You might be in development for a little while. It's okay, right? So development, you should be making money though, right? It should be profitable in development, or you should be making adjustments to figure out how to make money. And then maturation. Maturation, you're going to know. Maturity, you're going to know because you're going to be comfortable, meaning you're going to be making revenue, right? For me, that mark in the beginning was 500K. Then I think it happened again when I made $1 million, right? And then when I got ready to go to the next, the cycles get shorter and shorter, which is crazy, right? But when you understand them, you know exactly what to do. You can plan for them and prepare for them, okay? So maturation, when you get to the place where you're comfortable and either your revenue has stifled, like you're constant, or you feel like you're regressing, that is the place where it's like, okay, something needs to be done here. Ideally, you're proactive. But if you're not proactive, then after you see it happen, you see what's happening, you have to get new information and insight and adjust accordingly. And then following that, that's where you begin progress. So what you do at the stage of maturity, affects the next stage. And so one of my commitments, I think this year, my ongoing commitment is I don't want to just see people launch businesses and have success, mediocre success. I want to see people launch businesses and have staying power. And what I said to my team today, and kind of we were working through a meeting, is that we want people to create staying power and have the ability to exit when they are ready. Okay, I know I can exit whenever I'm ready, and I'm going to exit like I want to exit. I don't want to see people get forced out of their businesses just because of information. So to launch is great, and to be successful and start with, developing and all of that, those are wonderful, but you've got to understand what's coming next, and it doesn't need to be scary. It's not scary to me, right? When I see certain things, I'm like, okay, I need new information here. What do I need to figure out here? How can I get this done? Because, hey, maybe we're right here and we're plateaued and we're not seeing what we want to see the results. So don't get comfortable, okay? Your business should always be doing this. It should always be growing, So even though I was successful, I was making money like this. I was making the same money over and over. So I want you guys to know that launch, develop, mature, and then you're going to regress or make progress. But either way, it's just an indicator. Even if you go backwards for a season, you just need new information, okay? So that means you got as mature, you grew as far as you could, and now you need something else. You need something else. That's all it is, okay? It still happens to me. And I've done extremely well in this industry, but there are still places where I go, okay, boom, here, you matured here. There's something else you've got to do. So listen, I am going to end there, and I will talk to you guys later. Be blessed.